Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I'm Tony Gerdeman here once again with Juck Miletti. Juck, how's it going?
Really good, Tony. We had practice in the indoor today, outside yesterday, so we avoided any rain that may have happened. I don't know if it did or not. We were inside.
It did, in fact, rain, and we did, in fact, avoid it.
All right.
Now it is absolutely beautiful out here.
Perfect.
And so we did get to see practice number 2. Some standouts in that. Afterwards, we talked with Nate Roberts, Earl Little, Beau Jackson, and Kenyatta Jackson. And we can talk a little bit about that, I suppose, as we go on. But the number one thing that I wanted to talk about today was the number one guy who impressed me the most. And as we talked to people who were also at practice, that's the first name that kept coming up. And that is wide receiver Devin McCuin, who he had at least 2 long catches. One of them was a touchdown. He had another one and the one that he caught for a touchdown was, Dominick Kelly in coverage.
Yeah.
Sliding kind of over the shoulder, dropped in by Julian Sand. Great catch. He had another one where he's going up over the middle, goes way up to get it, catches it, comes down, spins out of a tackle, and keeps running. And this dude was awesome again today, even better today than he was yesterday. And yesterday I was really impressed. So now, my thoughts on him. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I might have to double all of my numbers for him this year.
You know, Tony, we were talking about yesterday, and I said to you, I'm of the opinion that he is going to be the clear number 2 guy in terms of production. And that was kind of your feeling as well. I don't think it's a question at this point. And it almost felt like the way the guys were reacting to him. It feels like they all get that too. And this was one of maybe, I don't know the knocks on him, but maybe the questions on him was, yeah, he can do the stuff, getting the ball yards after catch. How's he going to be catching the ball downfield? My gosh, man, the guy, for a dude who's not very big, right? Doesn't have very long limbs, got a real knack for the ball in the air. And the catch he made on Dominick Kelly in the end zone, everybody was fired up. I mean, I'm supposed to be professional. I got a little fired up too, Tony. Apologize for that one.
Yeah, well, and if I remember, I'm going to try to also throw in one of the blocking drills where the receivers are going and just running into Anthony Schlegel, who's got a pad on. Devin McCuin went at him and kept going at him, was wrestling with him. And he just looks like he's having the time of his life at Ohio State. Not the time of their life for the defensive backs covering him. But man, that was also my big question with him is there somebody that can come down with the football like Carnell T did? And so far he has, and the play action throwing deep to him right now is very, very effective. And that's when Ohio State's in base or when they're in nickel, he's getting open. And he's getting open all over the place. And so the question now is he number 1 or number 2?
I'll tell you what, number 4, as in Jeremiah, man, he looks faster this year. It's just remarkable. He looks so amazing out there in a room full of mega freaks. He just stands out as an alien every time. And it's just so hard not to watch him basically do everything.
Yeah.
But he looks tremendous. Brock Boyd with a couple of smooth catches today, one with a little yards after catch that he came down with, got the ball punched out. We thought the knee was down, but he still had to run.
Still got to run.
You got to run.
And one of the things I've noticed in these first few days of practice, when somebody's running, Keenan Bailey will run with them and coach them up a little bit on the routes that they're jogging. Chris Henry Jr. again he looks completely comfortable. He's rotating in with the 1s and 2s, and a lot of guys are. That's how camp goes. It was interesting then, as we're talking 1s and 2s, to see yesterday, day 1, Austin Searveld at left tackle, or at right guard, and Ian Moore at left tackle. Today, Austin Searveld back at left tackle, Josh Padilla at right guard. Later on, you saw a little bit of Ian Moore at right tackle. So as Ryan Day said after practice, they're going to move guys around, see what guys can do. And that's what they did. And it was good to see Ian Moore getting some reps at right tackle both yesterday and today, so that they know more about him as well.
Absolutely. And, the look of that offensive line coming together. I noticed with the young guys, Max Riley, freshman Max Riley, who was, pretty much a guard all spring, they were working him with the centers today, and we did see some bad snaps, but I'm not sure what the move is there, but just something I noticed that they hadn't done before. But we will see, like we talked about, yesterday, the mixing up of who's going to be that 6th guy or the odd man out, Padilla, Phil Daniels, or Ian Moore. I don't think it's going to be Ian Moore.
Yeah, well, and I did have some people telling me that James Smith was giving Josh Pettijohn some trouble
He can do that.
today, and it's like, well, I mean, yeah, that's going to happen as we see more and more. And it's interesting to see, like James Smith so far right now, still working with the twos, which he did in the spring. But he moves all around, like I said. They move up and down with the ones and the twos. Like all of the tight ends basically worked with the ones at some point today. Nate Roberts, I asked him, how deep are you guys this year compared to last year tight end? He's like, just as deep, if not deeper, much more versatile, which I would agree with, because they all have experience doing basically both spots. Now, we all know it's the year of the tight end, but it's an interesting, versatile group that can help that offensive line even more. Anybody else? Oh, I say anybody else stand out on offense? I'll let you go.
Hey, well, all right, listen, Isaiah West, we talked about yesterday, and we were talking, are we thinking, 60-40-ish here? Because Isaiah does look so good. Ryan Day, Peyton Pierce talked about him yesterday. Today, it was an even more impressive day for Isaiah out there than it was yesterday, at least from what I saw. I know you were closer to him yesterday, but today we got to see it all. And Isaiah looks so much more explosive. He looks so much quicker laterally. We know last year he already led the team in missed tackles forced per carry, which is his knack. He's tough to bring down. So if he's looking better with his cuts and laterally in quickness, and he's better physically than anybody else, and he showed that last year, I don't know how this isn't a 50-50, like, who's going to lead this team in rushing? Like, this is a coin flip at this point.
Yeah, and like I said yesterday, it'll be interesting. The real interesting thing is who leads them in carries.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not on the message board, Buckeye Insiders message board. I said maybe like 70-30, or like I said, there's like a 30% chance that Isaiah West leads them in rushing, and that feels really low to me right now. And it's just watching him again today, and again, no pads, no tackling. There's no thudding, but there's some hitting, a little bit of hitting going on. And he is running between the tackles, but when he gets out, there's like a swing pass where he got to the corner and just 0 to 60 instantly, and showed off some of the speed that I don't think people think. Like maybe he didn't have as much of last year.
That's right.
But he looks every bit of whatever you want a running back to look like right now.
Now, some people I heard say that they thought maybe Bo was a little dinged up. He was asked that. He said he's fully healthy. That doesn't necessarily mean he is, but he said he was. But it just feels like the energy in there, it feels like, again, and it felt like this yesterday, if you didn't know who the starting running back was and you were just coming in to watch practice, you hadn't seen last year, you would say it's 32.
Yeah, and he's been running with the ones.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten to see as much of Beau Jackson this fall so far, because I've been just the way things are split up and watching the ones more. And for whatever reason, I'm seeing Isaiah West more than I am Beau Jackson. It's still, no legend bay yet, right? They said he'd be out a couple of days. So we'll see if he's back tomorrow. I don't know. Looking forward, obviously, to seeing what he could do. Nothing major there from what we've been told. So
I got one note on the tight ends before we move. Yeah. Watching every individual group in practice, Keenan Bailey has talked consistently for a couple years about wanting to be the toughest group on the team because he understands that, and he did say this in 24, we're the least talented group on the team. I don't think he says that anymore, but he's always wanted those guys to be the toughest. They practice with the most intensity of any group. And that really stands out to me, because if you're going to try to say that, back it up in practice, and they do. The most fiery group, the hardest hitting, and just something to put out there.
Yeah, it's like I said, lots of versatility. I've got people asking like, well, who's with the ones? And they're all rotating in there. And like Nate Roberts said, they've got 5 guys that can play. To start practice, it was like Bennett Christian and Max LeBlanc running with the ones, and then everybody else gets in there. And we've seen Max LeBlanc make some plays the last couple of days, which is good to see. Saw Brody Lennon down
scored a touchdown,
catching the touchdown on
Nick Lauder with a couple grabs today.
So yeah, they're producing, and as we know, again, you're the tight end. The defensive line, you got to spend some time with Kenyatta Jackson talking about what the plan is for him this year.
So, and again, something we also talked about yesterday, if you can find somebody to be the Kenyatta last year, to be that solid, strong side defensive end, then you could potentially free up Kenyatta to be more of a Caden Curry role. And he was asked about this year, what we may see different from him. And he said, last year, I think I sacrificed a little bit. This year, I'm going to get to play a little more all over. And you get the sense that he really wanted to do that. And we know that he did that for a little spell last year when he asked for it. And I feel like it was part of the plan all along. I'm coming back. I want to be that. And he, kind of confirmed that is what we're going to see out of him this year. And that is exciting news.
Yeah, I'm not going to back off of my first round draft pick prediction for him or the potential that he has 10 plus sack potential. I think he had 6.5 last year. And so he, as I tell people, he looks how you want your defensive ends to look.
It's amazing.
He's tall, he's big, he's still long and lean. Like physically, I don't know how it all fits, like how it all works, but he's just the prototype there. Defensive tackles, it's basically been the same since we've saw John Walker and Will Smith at nose, and Edric Houston and James Smith at 3-tech, and mixing in some Demarius Simeon and
some Jason Moore,
Ruffin and Jason Moore. I don't know that I learned much there that we didn't already know today. And I think the biggest thing that I saw in defense, before we get to the secondary where there's a bunch of stuff, I will say Riley Pettijohn was working off ball some today as well, whereas yesterday he was only at the Sam. Today he was back at the Will and also Sam, so that was good to see. They opened up the nickel today. We did not see that at all yesterday. So your first team nickel right out of the gate, freshman Jay Timmons.
No surprise. We talked about him in our 100 snap show that, that might be the guy that we see double or triple that 100 snap club for the freshman right there at that nickel spot. He's a natural. The buzz about him has been just off the charts. And, we heard Devin Sanchez talk about him yesterday in a way that sounded a little bit different than you talk about most freshmen. Yeah. And it certainly seems like that is the case. The guy is the real deal. We're going to see a whole lot of him this year.
Well, Earl Little said he was making plays as soon as he walked in.
Wow.
Basically. So I'll have to write about him, I suppose, because he's just, I don't know how else we could say. Just go back and watch yesterday's show. He's just a football player. He's a baller. Yeah. And that's basically all you need to know. And I'm trying not to get hung up in saying, remember Antoine Winfield as a true freshman nickelback? I'm not going to do that because that's sacrilegious. But it does pose this interesting question of, so when they are with the 5 defensive backs, who is your starting 5? And right now, Terry Moore and Leroy Roker have been with the 2s. So the first team safeties have been Jalen McClain in the back end, Earl Little in the box, and then Jay Timmons, or I suspect Jermaine Matthews might be that guy as well as that number 1 nickel. And then we also saw Jermaine Matthews, interestingly, open with the 2s and the 3s at quarter, finish with the 1s. I think some of this maybe just snap count, wanting the other guy's reps, and Jermaine Matthews as a senior doesn't need all of this necessarily the same work that everybody else does. But what are you making of the secondary right now? And I will say Dominick Kelly gave up a couple of long passes to Devin McCuin, who I'm contending he will be a Heisman favorite, so no shade there.
Yeah, right.
But your thoughts on the secondary so far?
I think it's a great spot to be in because I think the emergence of Dominick Kelly and the emergence of Jay Timmons has given you this scenario where, okay, now we got a couple of odd men out. And I think that most likely, to your point about Jermaine, it's more that he's kind of locked in there and that he's going to be that guy that plays the majority of those reps across from Devin, but that Dominick Kelly will play there a lot as well. And Jermaine, we know he can play the nickel, but if Jay Timmons is as good as we're kind of feeling like he might be, I think he's going to be better than Jermaine, and I think he's going to play.
Yeah, I said yesterday he's probably Jay Timmons is your starting dime in some facets, but Leroy Roker was also the dime last year at times as well. So the options that they have this year, I kind of just see it right now. If I were to make a guess, I would say that Jermaine Matthews and Devin Sanchez are your starters at corner. On long passing downs, Jermaine Matthews slides inside, and Dominick Kelly comes in. But they're going to find something for Jay Timmons. That's what you keep hearing behind the scenes. And when you see him out there with the 1s on day 2 of practice, what other judgment are you supposed to make?
Yeah, and it doesn't stand out as out of place either. He looks like he knows exactly what he's doing, and he moves great. It's legit.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Anything else from
Not really. Did you hear that?
anything else from today that stands out other than shout out to 11
Shout out to 11 Warriors from the drive-by. Ball punching. This is something we saw emphasized coming into the 2024 season, early in the spring, and then in the preseason. They really wanted to focus on punching the ball out. We saw it executed early in the 2024 season, Michigan State, and then it kind of died off, and we didn't see the effort, and it just kind of petered out. I think we're seeing a lot of that this year, trying to force the turnover, punching the ball out, working great here in practice. We saw a couple of them today. It seems like something we'll see them carry into the season. Will it be something that they continue to emphasize throughout the season? As we saw it peter out in 24, but that is something that stood out to me in the first 2 days. We're seeing a whole lot of that, trying to force the turnover in that way. So we'll see.
Well, and coaches tell you get what you emphasize, and losing the guys that they did on defense, I think focusing on turnovers and keeping this new defense from being out there as long as they have to be, I think that would help. So, one last thing that I want to throw out there. I'll just say this. Favour Akih looked bigger to me. For last time I saw him in spring, it's like, boy, he's a little thinner, but now he looks like he's a full-on running back. But that's it for me. Anything else?
That's it. One other thing. Kenyatta Jackson said Episatanile was a finesse guy. Now he's got the power to back it up. Also said that Bo Atkinson worked his butt off after practice every day to get to what we're seeing now, which is a much better version of Bo Atkinson.
Yeah, so we will be back on Sunday or Saturday at the Woody for the practice number 3. First, you can find all of our coverage at BuckeyeInsiders.com. We'll have more for you. I'll write up a practice report. We'll have some thoughts on the message board as well. Now's a fantastic time to join, become a member, follow this season along with us, because I think it's going to be pretty darn good. So that will do it from here. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll talk to you all later.